is we're going to place this movie along with the rest of the Pixar lexicon in our tier system. We're going to have 4 different tiers as we head towards this final segment. We're going to have 4 tiers. The first one will be what we call the God tier. These are God level. These are the untouchables. These are the movies that when you think of Pixar, these are the first names that come to the tip of your tongue. These are the ones that are franchise builders, literally. These are the ones that have 3,000 hits, over 300 average, over 500 career home runs. Okay. Baseball's back. That's the God tier. Next, our second tier, we have the Hall of Very Good, which means, okay, maybe we're thinking about a 6 to 8 time All-Star. Okay. Maybe they were the number 5 hitter, number 2 hitter on a championship winning team. Maybe they get in by the Veterans Committee. Maybe they get on in the 4th or 5th time on the ballot, but the Hall of Very Good, they don't quite crack that upper echelon. Maybe they're just shy of 3,000 hits. The next tier, tier 3, we have the good, just good. And I think that tier is one that maybe they made 1 to 3 all-star teams. Okay. Maybe they are not looked at as even like a sniffing that top tier, right? They're just good. They're accepted for what they are. And then tier 4, we have the rejects, the ones, the forgettables, the one that no one cares about. It sounds like Ricky Flex wants to put Turning Red into the rejects, but we won't go there yet. We're going to start with the top tier, the God level tier. Ricky Flux, do you have any questions before we hop into these?
No, I think we got it. I think this is good. I think you explained it well. I think I got it now. I'm ready to go.
All right. So Ricky Flux, here's what I want to do. I have my tiers already set. I assume you have an idea of where you want to go with your tiers. Is that correct?
I have an idea of all right, the franchise builders, God level, boom. And I have an idea for the rejects. I think the middle 2 is going to be where there's going to be a lot of controversy here.
So I'm going to list my tier 1 gods, right? Mortals amongst men. It's so hard for a modern day Pixar movie to enter this top tier. These are like the Babe Ruths, right? The Lou Gehrigs, right? The Cy Youngs. These are the ones that I'm just going to continue with the baseball connection here.
MLB's back.
But here's what I have. First off, Toy Story 1 through 3, all in God tier. Okay. Toy Story 1 through 3, God tier. Next, Ratatouille, God tier. Next, Monsters, Inc., God tier. Inside Out, God tier. Finding Nemo, God tier. Up, God tier. Incredibles, God tier. And I have one more, Wall-E, God tier. I have 10 movies, including Toy Stories 1 through 3. That is my tier 1. Ricky Flicks, thoughts on those movies? Anyone doesn't belong on that list. I have a hard time for you to say any of those do not belong in God tier.
How many Pixar movies are there? There's 20, less, 15?
No, there's more than that, bro.
There's 20.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 25 movies.
25. Okay.
I have 10 in the God tier. It's very hard to crack the God tier. The only one that's made in the last 10 years that has made this list is Inside Out.
So it's tough because I think I had one more on top of that to be on this level. Top
I have 11. That's the border one. That kicks off tier 2.
I have a top 11 to be considered, not stapled, but considered in the God level top tier here. My problem is, how on earth do we put 10 or 11 names in this first tier already?
You have to, Ricky. These movies are too good. You think I'm bumping Ratatouille to tier 2, bro? That's arguably my favorite one.
So I think the ones that I'm a little questionable about.
Go ahead.
And this is a hot take, so I'm gonna put my hat on right here tight. You might want to buckle up for this one. I think Up's a bubble God tier.
Did Up get nominated for Best Picture?
That's what Michael
Giacchino.
Giacchino won his Oscar for. I think it's an unbelievable movie. But is it better than Toy Story 1? Is it better than Toy Story 2 or 3? Is it better?
No. That's why they're the first I named.
I know, but like, I guess it's just the tiering of it. I guess I have a hard time giving 10 movies in the God level tier, but I guess it's Pixar, so you have to.
I will say, if I had to pick one movie from the 10 I listed who could possibly go to tier 2 and swap with a tier 1 movie, it would be Up.
Yes,
I will say that.
And my other,
that's a combination of great movie mixed with like childhood nostalgia. It's a mix.
So I completely agree. And my other issue here was just thinking out loud of my thoughts when you thought of this idea here was Inside Out. That's a God level movie, like insane movie. Yeah. My only problem is if that's in the God level, I think Coco might have to be in there too.
Coco's on the bubble. That's the one on the bubble. Way to give away my top of my tier 2, Ricky Flex.
I'm sorry, but I had to mention it.
I know. So we have to make a decision here. Let me give you my tier 2. And I might have to explain a couple of these because these are the tougher ones. That God tier, it's so easy to pick the best. And you might like have a borderline at the end, but this is what I have for tier 2. Tier 2, I had leading off Coco. Coco, the soundtrack's unbelievable, but the thing about being a tier 1 movie, you can't have too many. Double digits we hit, 10 movies. Am I going to put 11 in the God tier? I feel like it should be limited to 10. We talk about how hard it is to break up into that upper echelon of Pixar. And I was really between, as you said, I think Up and Coco were the ones I was rivaling against. I am open for conversation, Ricky Flex, but let's keep on going with tier 2. We have Coco. I put Soul in the Hall of Very Good. I put A Bug's Life in the Hall of Very Good. And then I have one more film before I go on to tier 3.
You have an idea what your last film
Toy Story 4.
Oh.
Toy Story 4 in the Hall of Very Good. That's, you talk about reputation. Pixar, reputation. Toy Story 4, not as memorable, an unneeded sequel. But was it worth going to a theater? I would say absolutely. I would. It's heartbreaking. You don't see Woody and Buzz together. Okay? It is. And that's the reason I would probably maybe bring it into tier 3. Maybe bring it into tier 3 because you don't have that iconic like dynamic going on like you had in the first 3 movies, or at least one. Actually, they're separated from most of the movies, to be honest. But I have Toy Story just because it has the name, and I put Toy Story 1 through 3 in tier 1. So that's my tier 2.
Okay. I refuse to have Toy Story 4 in the tier 2. It's a tier 3. It's a good movie. That's it.
Let's worry about task at hand. Let's go.
Right. I'm just saying.
Coco, are you going to replace? So here's the deal. Do we put Coco into tier 1? Don't put anyone into tier 2. Are you comfortable with having over 10 films in tier 1? And then tier 2 we can work on afterwards.
It's tier 1 can't be more than 10.
That's a lot.
That's already too many. We can't just do an odd number 11 like that. So at the end of the day, I think you're right. I think Up over Coco. I think you're right. It's hard because I do kind of pair. I do kind of put Inside Out like as a pair with Coco. So like to have them separate is kind of off.
Those are the new kids on the block, right?
They
the
came
recent
to play.
Draftees, right?
Taking over the league.
Number 1 overall pick that lives up to the hype, and they just missed the top 75.
Yeah. Now NBA. Yeah, no. Let's do that. So, okay. So let's dive into tier 2.
Tier 2, what is the one you thought I was going to list that's not Toy Story 4?
Oh, it's you, so Luca.
You thought I wasn't ready to do it.
Okay.
I wasn't ready to do it.
If I had to guess your next one, then Cars.
I initially had that tier 2, but I think that was based off strictly nostalgia. I think there's a lot deeper stories that Pixar has in their bag than Cars. The Cars sequels are so abysmal. This is where like the Toy Story.
But Cars.
This is where
first one though.
I'm talking about the first one. Yes, I'll give it away right now. Cars 2 and 3 are both in tier 4.
Agreed.
But I'm saying this is where I'm saying the name of the franchise matters. Toy Story, they still get these beloved characters. You still have a pretty menacing villain. Okay. You may not think it should belong in tier 2, but I think it's better than a lot of the tier 3 movies, bro. So
I'm looking at, all right.
But
so
you agree. Soul, Bug's Life deserve to be tier 2.
Soul is just an unbelievable movie in and of itself. There's like a bunch of things that we just mentioned earlier, like Turning Red, that we have in
So
Soul.
close to entering that category of Coco and Inside Out. Very close.
Yeah, it's very close, but I think that just misses the mark. I think this is exactly where it is. Coco, yeah, we can't have more than 10. Put it in tier 2. You have to have a cutoff. That's my opinion on it.
That's our toughest decision.
And for me, it's personal. A Bug's Life. I think this is the most underrated Pixar movie. Like, this might be the most underrated. And I think what you said about the name recognition. A Bug's Life, I need to do a rewatch. But at the end of the day, I know I love this movie so much. I think maybe the best Pixar villain of all time. We won't mention his name, but we can't put it in God level tier 2.
Ricky, you know how hard it was for me to leave off the first movie I ever saw in theaters off of tier 1? I might have shed a tear, maybe 2. You know how hard that was? Where I looked at A Bug's Life and I had to cut it off with its brothers. I felt like a manager who scratched a player that in Game 7 of the World Series that had devoted 10 years to the franchise.
See,
I felt someone that was like Pixar and Bug's Life. Bug's Life is one of the first, bro. And it was a great story. It's got solid performances. It's got hilarious moments. But is it a better movie than WALL-E with the themes that explores? Is it a better movie than Finding Nemo?
No.
Is it a better movie than Monsters, Inc., Ratatouille?
No.
It's absolutely not. So I had to swallow my pride. I had to do what was best for the tiers, and I had to put it in second. And that's honestly me thinking with my head rather than my heart.
You had to do it. It stinks, but I'm proud of you. That is a big decision you made. A Bug's Life, great movie. Hollow, very good, but not God level.
Okay. So the conversation here as we carry over, we made the decision on Coco being the top of tier 2, the Hall of Very Good, and now we go on to tier 3.
Wait. Sorry.
We are saying Toy Story 4 is still in the bubble. It's not confirmed tier 2.
Okay, but we confirmed tier 1 right now.
Tier 3.
We have a confirmed tier 1.
Tier 1 is confirmed.
Okay, moving on.
Man, we're gonna get hate for the go pick. I'm not looking forward to that. That could lead to our first major Twitter beef. Like, we've had a couple, but this one could be explosive. Next, leading off tier 3, as you would assume, Luca. I have leading off tier 3. I loved it. I feel like I also have to recognize other audiences' feelings for the movie. Maybe not as much depth, but the animation's incredible. Luca, tier 3. I love the setting. Beautiful. Cars, tier 3. Incredibles 2, tier 3. I would say tier 3 is my second biggest tier, Ricky. So just giving you a heads up. I don't have a ton of rejects here. Turning Red, I have tier 3.
Yeah, no, stop right now.
I have to. Let me finish.
That is.
So these are basically, I have honestly never seen Brave, but I put it in tier 3. I've never seen it.
We can't. So I have seen parts. It's not a bad movie. It's not like Turning Red. I'll say
it doesn't have. So tier 2 is like you're knocking at the door of being very good. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I'm saying tier 3. It's like, okay, just solid movies.
We can't throw Brave as a reject. I had
Onward, tier 3.
I love Onward.
I liked it. If it was to be a personal list, like, this is not just like the Hall of Fame committee. It's not like I have to deal with just my integrity on the line. Onward might be even tier 2 for me because I liked it so much. And I thought Chris Pratt was amazing in his voice performance there. Also taking on sort of adult themes, mature themes for kids. Mm-hmm. Finding Dory, also tier 3. And a movie I actually have never seen in its entirety. I have Monster University. I've only seen parts.
I'm sorry. but that will have to be a reject.
Okay. If you are Ricky, I haven't seen
That
the movie,
movie is tough.
but we talk about brand recognition. We talk about Monsters Inc. in tier 1.
I know.
I was giving it the benefit of the doubt. I've only seen parts. What puts it in tier 4 for you?
Everything. It's a prequel that tried so hard to like put all these intertwining storylines together. College, right? But it was mainly for kids. The scare factor at the end was kind of lame. Like the climax there. I guess I'm not going to spoil anything there, but I kept it broad enough for you. And that villain, like the dean or whatever, kind of lame. Not like in Monsters Inc. with the spider guy, and then also, what's his name, Randall. So Monsters U, I don't even consider it like in the like it's a part of the Monsters.
I don't like how you said that. I don't like how you said that.
But
Monsters U.
just I can't. It's not a good.
University of Monsters.
This movie's not good, so I can't put it in tier 3.
Ricky, I trust your opinion wholeheartedly. Monsters University has been demoted and is off the 25-man roster heading into the postseason. They're going to tier 4. So, tier 3. Here's what we have, Ricky. Let me know if anything sticks out. Luca, tier 3. Turning Red, tier 3. Ricky, I know we'll talk about that in a second. Cars, tier 3. Incredibles 2, tier 3. Brave, tier 3. Onward, tier 3. Finding Dory, tier 3. So Turning Red, other than Turning Red, do we have an issue with the list?
I think we're missing one. Toy Story 4. I think, all right, let me help you here. I think you're doing great, by the way. Luca or Toy Story 4?
Luca. I think.
Well,
but I love the characters in Toy Story 4.
Okay, well,
I do think it's a genuinely funny movie. It's a great adventure, right? With characters we're familiar with. Woody and Buzz. Woody reuniting with Bo Peep. A story that we have been craving since Toy Story 2. And it was almost impossible to follow up such a critically acclaimed film like Toy Story 3. Arguably the most acclaimed in the franchise and one that was nominated for Best Picture.
Okay, just hold on here. Let me just keep going here.
A lot to live up to.
So, Onward or Toy Story 4? See, like this hesitation just makes me like proves the point where it should be with these
Toy
guys.
Story 4, I would take over Onward, I think. I have to rewatch Toy Story 4. I have to rewatch it. I have to.
Okay.
They should have been in the franchise after 3. I get it. But
I
gotta show respect to a goat.
I know, but I have one more
respect
question.
To a goat.
I have one more question for you. This might get flack from you. Cars or Toy Story 4?
Cars, I was thinking about. I told you, I initially had it at tier 2, but the story's pretty skim.
I think
thin.
Lightning McQueen is
pretty
legendary.
iconic, and
dude.
Like
so
Mater.
You're talking about franchises, right? And like what they've done after. Yes, 2 and 3, they're gonna be in the rejects. But
there's a reason they made them.
But they have, yeah, exactly. It's so big, and it's because of this first one. Mater has his own shows and movies and stuff. Like the Italians, like I think Cars is it's getting diluted, the value of that origin movie because of the rest of what's going on.
That could be in my brain.
It is in your brain. I'm telling you, it's in there.
Scrambled eggs right now.
I think
this is a lot of pressure. I made this list. This is a lot of pressure.
But hey,
you're saying what it needs to be. I made the list. This has a heartfelt connection with me.
Okay, but if it's your list,
hey, no, it's our list. I just
then
this is the temple. This is the template, not temple. This is the house that.
Okay, so what are we doing? So are we doing Toy Story 4 or Cars? That's the question here for tier 2, or both in tier 3?
I'm debating. We just put Toy Story 4 into tier 3 and don't add anything to tier 2.
Just have 3 movies in tier 2 then. Coco, Soul, and
I feel like there has to be 4. So here's what I'll do. You have sold me on the fact that Toy Story 4 will drop to tier 3. You're right. I'll make the change right now. I have my doc. Boom. I have an Apple, so I have the Notes app up. You can't see it. But Toy Story 4 has been dropped to tier 3. Now, the question becomes, I guess, the conversation would be Luca or Cars into tier 2. That'd be the decision. And I would have to show respect to the 8-time All-Star Cars over the 3-time All-Star Luca. The
Yeah.
Cars has the credibility. There's a reason it has a franchise. I mean, Lightning McQueen is such an electric name for a character.
Amazing. It's
He looks cool. Animation's
Vader.
pretty cool.
Larry the Cable Guy. Like, I'm not a big Larry the Cable Guy, but like he's iconic for that.
Ricky, we'll do it.
Okay.
I'll give him. So Cars deleted from tier 3. All right. So here's tier 2 to finalize. We have Coco, Soul. That's a killer one too for a tier 2. That shows you how amazing your studio is. A Bug's Life, an OG, in Cars.
Cars. Yeah.
That's our tier 2.
Okay.
Finalizing tier 3 now into tier 4. So tier 3, kicking off Luca, Incredibles 2, Brave, Onward, Finding Dory, Toy Story 4, and this is the one that's being debated right now, is Turning Red. Tier 3 or a reject?
Like,
Is Turning Red a reject? You put Turning Red up against The Good Dinosaur, Cars 2, Cars 3, and Monster University. Do you put Turning Red into that category? Or is it just the bottom of tier 3?
so my problem is, okay, that's your argument. My argument is, the way I'm looking at it is, do you put Turning Red with Luca, Incredibles 2, Finding Dory, Onward, Toy Story 4? No. So that's kind of stuck
I
in the
do.
middle
I
here.
don't respect the tier 3. I don't really respect that much except for Luca. To be honest, right? Turning Incredibles 2, I don't really respect. Nothing to do with like the gender
I
dynamics.
gave it
there.
a 45.
It was
I
no.
don't
That is
think
so
it's-
bad. But
I don't
I gave it a
think it's
78.
good.
I gave it a 78.
All right,
though.
you gave me. All right, you've been kind of lenient with me here.
I feel Turning Red needs to be a tier 3.
Okay.
Well, that's because I mean every other pick is technically one that I made, so like that's why I'm leaning towards you, because like you would pick similarly, I think.
Yeah.
And it feels like you're in agreement, but
this is one
yeah.
where I'm not gonna be with you. Like I'm with you obviously on the paper, but if you listen to the podcast, which you are right now, you know that I'm not with this pick. But we have to do it.
Turning Red has to be tier 3.
Sad but true.
It's going into different avenues for Pixar. It's getting bolder. It's going into more uncomfortable material. And it shows that they're not remaining stagnant or static, right? They're not. It's like what the MCU is trying to do. And we know that they're trying to be more diverse with their storytelling, relate to as many people as possible, and find different avenues. Tier 3 is where I have it. A lot of people, I'm telling you, Ricky, a lot of people love Turning Red. So like to have it in like tier 4 in the rejects, that would have been brutal for us. Like people would have came at us if Turning Red was in the bottom tier. They would think we're like misogynistic, bro, if we put it in tier 4. We cannot do that.
You gave it a 78, so I guess you can't.
I said it's good. That's why we have the God tier, the Hall of Very Good, the good, and then the rejects. I don't think it's a reject, bro. You think it is, obviously, but I don't think it's a reject. And even if it's a reject for you, my score tells you it should be in tier 3. Tier 4, The Good Dinosaur, Cars 2, Cars 3, then Monsters University. I am satisfied with this tiering. I think it's really good.
Yeah, and I just for the record, Monster University, like, I don't absolutely hate that movie. I just don't think it's good. And yeah, I don't think it's good.
It just doesn't belong
Yeah.
with those other movies on the list. It's so forgettable. And a big part about Pixar movies is the rewatchability, the come back to them. They're on ABC Family or Freeform. You're able to go to it, start watching no matter where you are, and you're hooked. Pixar Marathon. Is Monster University showing up on a Pixar Marathon?
No.
You better believe it isn't, right? You better believe it isn't. So let me walk through the tiers one more time, then we'll get out of here. Tier 1. Let's build up, actually. Tier 4. The Good Dinosaur.
Jeffrey
Cars
Wright.
2. Cars 3. Monsters University. Tier 3. Luca. Turning Red. Incredibles 2. Brave. Onward, Finding Dory, Toy Story 4. Next, tier 2. Coco, Soul, A Bug's Life, Cars. And tier 1, Toy Story 1 through 3, Ratatouille, Monsters Inc., Inside Out, Finding Nemo, Up, Wall-E, and The Incredibles. Ricky, we might have nailed it. The only thing that's holding this list back is Coco. But we need at least 4 in each tier. If I had to look at tier 1 and tier 2, I had to switch out another movie. You talked about Up. I think the next one, it's personally one of my favorites, arguably my favorite Pixar movie, but based on the way it's widely received and based on the performance of it's the first one and the third one, I think Toy Story 2 would be the next one up that you would have to switch.
Okay, this podcast might be over. Wow. You think
that's
Toy
what
Story
I would have
2?
to switch?
Oh my God.
Toy Story 1, iconic. Toy Story 3, also iconic. You didn't think it could outperform both of them. Okay. These other ones kind of stand upon their own, except for Monsters Inc. has a sequel. Incredibles, belongs in the top tier. Talk about Up leaving. I'm saying if Up was gone, Toy Story 2 would be next up, would be gone. And the fact that we have 3 spots in tier 1 taken up by Toy Story movies, I think that matters. Tell me my logic.
No. That's a hard no. Like Toy Story 2 might be better than 1.
I love it. I love it too. But people don't like the scale got a little too big. It lost some of the feel of the first one. Toy Story 3 kind of returned right to that like one setting vibe.
I see what you're saying, but I think they did it so well that
I loved it too,
okay.
Bro. I'm just saying. I'm just saying we're taking up 3 slots with 1 Toy Story movie in 1 tier. 3 slots for the Toy Story franchise in 1 tier.
Can't
do 3
do it.
Movies.
Won't do it. Okay. Shouldn't do
All right.
it. If anything, I would keep those 3. Like, I think. Sorry, you know.
If I put Coco, let's say I don't take a movie off tier 1. Coco goes into tier 1, right? Tier 2 remains Soul, Bugs Life, Cars. Then you're going to make the argument: does Soul get in? I feel like
we'll keep expanding.
Yes, I feel like we're making a stand. This is like the elite of the elite. Coco, newer movie, new kid on the block. Maybe over time it's even recepted warmer than it is already. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's the only thing that's bothering me. But other than that, I'm confident in the list.
The Coco, that's the glaring oof. Yeah, that's
do we put it in tier 1 and just don't put anything down? That's the decision.
Honestly, bro. I think we do, but then on the graphic, we don't put it as that. I can see how people react.
So you want to test them and say I
want to see how bad it is, as in the reaction to it. I think that it belongs next to Inside Out. I do. I'm fine with it in tier 2 though. I honestly am. Now I'm thinking about it. Villain didn't really I'm fine with it.
Danger level to it.
It was just the aesthetic. It was aesthetically pleasing. The visual effects were incredible.
Songs were great.
Songs were great. Oh, the soundtrack. Oh man.
Rick.
Not as strong as a main character than these main protagonists here than the others though. I will say that too. I'm fine with it in 2. I'm fine with it.
I think we just live with the repercussions.
Okay.
We live and die by our decisions on this podcast. They are final. So that's gonna do it for our tiering Pixar top billing.
Oh, wait. Sorry. Quick shout out to Bao short film. Unbelievable short film.
You know who directed it?
Chris Ricky. No.
Ricky. No. You know who directed this movie?
Bao?
Let me tell you.
Scorsese.
Domi Shi. You know what she directed?
Turning Red. Unbelievable short film.
Ricky.
Turning Red. Not unbelievable.
It belongs in tier 3. I'll tell you that. Any other final thoughts before we log off from this episode?
This had to be done. Now we live, like you said, we'll live with the repercussions. But I love our list for the most part.
I feel like when people see the Coco, they're gonna see there's gonna be a meme, a response. Michael Caine. Some men want to watch the world burn. From that pick. You know what? That's how we're gonna leave today's pod.
All right. Well, R.I.P. to William Hurt. R.I.P. to William Hurt. Legend. And the Batman. Go see it again.
Yeah, it's in October. Batman's head over there. That's going to do it for episode 81 of the Drive-In Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to wherever you listen to your podcast, whether that be Apple Podcasts, whether that be Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, wherever it may be. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube for clips on a weekly basis. Check out our spoiler review, our deep dive of the Batman with Big Mike. We go over character power rankings, predictions for the sequel. We talk about all our favorite scenes. It's great. And then make sure if you haven't seen it, check out our spoiler-free review. We got all the Batman content that you could want on our feeds. Listen to them back to back. Episodes are popping right now. Make sure you follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at the Drive-In Pod. Okay, give us some TikTok ideas. We need to get flowing. We got Ricky Flicks shaking on camera. We'll get him going. So that's going to do it for episode 81. Until next time, we will smell you.